with that intense music intro. Thank you to the team for that. We are back, baby, back from family reunion. We have all the energy, y'all. We have so many things that we're going to chunk down over the next few weeks. While exhausted, I told the team yesterday our energy is on fire. I think Linda summed it up best. She's going to get back up yesterday and went straight to the gym so that we can get back in a rhythm and in a structure. So movement is energy. Friendly reminder, get moving, people. All right, Mr. Mike Serben is on the call today. For those that don't know Mike, he's a tech guru. I love to geek out with him over technology. He gets me and I get him, and he's Holly Serben's husband. And he has come to the call and agreed to come to the call. So y'all give him some love in the chat and to introduce Final Offer. So last week I put his video up in Facebook. So we're not going to go over the nitty gritty of Final Offer because there is a video that's an hour that you can watch on Novalink, and it is like in the very front page of the My Business section. And I also posted it on Facebook. But today, I wanted Mike to come on because he was on a panel talking about this in January. And I think we need to bring some awareness on how we lead generate differently and how we sell properties differently. So, Mike, I'm going to introduce you. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to pass it off to you.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. And of course, as I look at myself with a black background, and I unfortunately wore a black shirt, I promise you I'm not just a floating head out in space. And I also think it's important to say, I mean, I appreciate the invite as a tech guru. Yeah, tech is a passion of mine, but I do want everyone to understand I am a realtor. I'm a realtor first. I still do a little production here and there. You have to know the life to really give people input. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate everybody spending a little bit of time with me this morning. Here's what we're going to talk about. I'll talk about anything you want, but specifically with respect to final offer. Final offer is kind of a complex thing. It does take some time, and I'm just going to tell you, it's way outside of our comfort zones, right? It challenges a lot of the things that you have, a lot of the things you thought you could or could not do as an agent to represent your client to the fullest extent possible. Okay, so Sarah referenced a video in Novalink. It's right there on the my business section, halfway down the page. It has my face on it, but it's not me. It's even better than me. It's the final offer guru herself, who's a mega agent out of the DC area. So please go watch that video and get ready to watch it a couple times. So, what is final offer? That's the biggest question. So, final offer is really it's a public platform, and I'm just going to say the key word is public. And it is capable of doing several things. For one, it is where we have decided to host our private collection, right? So this is a great place where you, as agents in your market center, are able to uh, advertise your off-market properties to each other and to each other's clients, right? So as I can't get into the law. I don't know the law in your area, but obviously I know Texas law. But I'm going to assume as long as you have some type of buyer representation agreement with them, with a client, right, making them an official client, well, now you can go ahead and give them full visibility into off-market stuff. And this is going to be really good for anybody who wants a different experience as a seller. Now, I know if you've listened to Smokey, I even heard some of this out of Gary's mouth over the weekend, was you have to give the sellers the option, right? Sellers, they know there are options out there and we have to have them. So this is a great example of a way that we are responding to that. And quite frankly, we're having success with. So that's kind of the first side of it. It's pretty easy to understand. I'm always willing to help you with kind of the mechanics of it. And in fact, right next to that video uh, in the My Business section are four, maybe five kind of micro videos. That is my work. Really quick and to the point, how to do those those, things as far as private collections concerned. Okay. Now, on the final offer side of this, really the idea is, have you ever, because I don't know your market, right? But I'm thinking back to the times when maybe our market here was a little hotter and, maybe I had a buyer that we had to write 20, 30 offers on houses. You had to lose 30 houses to get one, right? That's what our market was like at one point. And have you ever had the sneaking suspicion of like, hey, did the listing agent even present my client's offer? Or have you ever had a buyer say, I mean, I almost got fired a couple years ago. I'm convinced of it, almost being the key word, because we were losing out on offers. We kept losing houses, and it's exasperating for your buyers, right? And I felt like my buyers were thinking, geez, did we pick the wrong agent? Because, he's not giving us the right advice that we need to win a house, right? So Final Offer was born from that type of a market, which I fully respect. Most of us are not in that market today. But the point being is it provides a transparent platform, right? So your agents know, your buyers know, your sellers know, everybody knows who's following along with the property. They know that offers are being made, maybe offers are being countered, right? It's radical transparency. You have lots of options along with your seller about how you work with it. Okay. Um, who's familiar with, well, I'll just say this. I'm sure we're all familiar with the concept of an auction and maybe a buy it now, like big eBay people. eBay, and I think eBay might have trademarked the whole buy it now thing, but it allows you to do things with your sellers like put a buy it now price out there, right? So I'll give you an example of where this comes in handy. Those houses that you've got kind of sitting, you're kind of getting stale. You know that you need to get buyers to cross the threshold because until they get in the front door, they're not going to write an offer, right? And so, how do you get them to do that when you have a seller that is resistant to a price drop? Well, great example is, hey, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, here's what we need to do. We know we need to open up the pool of buyers, and here's how we can do this. We can put a lower price out there on the MLS because that's going to be the only way to open up our buyer pool. But we can still put a reserve price out there, a buy it now price of what you're sitting at today, so that we are being transparent that this is still what we're looking for, right? I think back, I've had some properties where, you know, we were in the fight of getting price reductions and, sellers resistant, property sits on the market, and then you finally get some success and the seller's like, okay, fine, we're going to listen to you and do your price. And then all of a sudden you get one or two or three offers at the same time. I've had that happen on stale listings because I stuck the right price out there. And I really wish that I would have had a tool like Final Offer that would have been able to rank those offers, right? To everybody that's offering, all those agents, so that we can drive that price back up. And that's what Final Offer does. That's what Jocelyn is going to do a great job of showing in that 58-minute and 52-second video that I'm on my knees begging you to go watch because I know it's going to be good for you. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I really scratched the surface on it. Love to know if anybody has a question, anything you want to ask me, please unmute and just ask. I can't have done that good a job explaining it. No way. I think
You're muted,
Sarah's on mute.
Sarah. I was gonna say, have y'all done several people in Dallas, I'm assuming have already done transactions on it, like utilized it?
Well, I'll tell you this, I utilized it myself on a listing that was, you know, we priced it in at really kind of the right area, a little bit lower than what the seller wanted. and I was getting a bunch of nibbles on it, right? So the showings weren't great, but they were coming, right? Um, I got an offer in, and it was 10 grand low plus 10 grand in seller concessions plus paid the buyer's agent. So it wasn't just all that attractive, right? And what I had been doing is I had been inviting every agent that had registered to show that property. I sent them a direct invitation to follow the property on final offer. And I can't promise you that that's what did this, but I knew that my buyer's agent was seeing that there were, there was more transparency, right? I was able to put out there that an offer was proposed. And I knew that as soon as I did that, every other agent, every other buyer that might have, and everybody that might have come by and scanned the QR code on my sign writer, or everybody who was following it because it hit a search, it was a hit to their search from an agent in final offer that had them on a search setup. They were all seeing, hey, you're about to lose an opportunity here to bid on this house. And so when I came back with a counter, it was a very seller-sided counter. And they went ahead and said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and accept your counter and we're going to work off of that, right? And it's not because we were being threatening or anything like that. It was because for the first time ever, everybody kind of had an idea of what was going on. And we weren't relying on, talking to each agent and waiting for them to go, talk to their client, to their buyer, trusting that they were even going to go do it, right? Because we're able to reach people directly.
How do
I
you
have a
use this for
question.
lead
I'm
gen?
sorry. So
Oh,
you're
go
saying
ahead.
the buyer took your offer quickly? Like you countered and they said okay because they knew you had sent out that text?
Yeah, essentially, yes. The buyer's agent. I can't tell you that the buyer was following along or not because I didn't have the buyer's information, but I knew their agent knew, right? And so they knew that there was some urgency.
How do you use this for lead gen?
So here's how I use it for lead gen, right? I don't, at the appointment is where I would really talk about, the details of final offer and kind of how we work. There's an entire presentation, and there are all kinds of resources available to you in the final offer platform when you go in there and look under resources. And so a lot of that's kind of already there. As far as lead generation goes, I kind of lean to the off-market part. I especially like it's really like this is the easiest way. I'm going to give you the easiest one, and this is actually a buyer-sided way, right? I will show them a screen capture of just the off-market listings that we have here. And I mean, obviously, I work in DFW, so there are hundreds of off-market listings. Like I can I can give you a really impressive map, and I can say, hey, listen, this is an exclusive inventory that we have built through my network. And if you're not working with me as your buyer's agent, not only do you not have access to these off-market specific listings, you don't even know that they exist, right? You're not going to lose a buyer because of that, right? That's a really strong message, okay? I think that's the easiest way to do it. The other thing I like to do, and this is maybe past the lead generation idea, but that is, I actually have I've actually stopped setting buyers up, potential buyers, on MLS automatic searches. Now I only use the final offer one because in final offer, you understand this, everything that's on market now in your MLS is on final offer, plus everything that's in your private collection portfolio. And in one search, because let's be honest, folks, we need to be simple. Our buyers are looking for simplicity. What was it? 7% of our buyers, when surveyed, said that they fully understood the process, right? That was a family reunion stat. And so clearly, our buyers don't need anything else to confuse them. So I put them on one search now because I know they're going to see way more than they're going to see on the MLS. And frankly, it bothers me when, I spend all this time setting up MLS searches for buyers, only to get a phone call of, hey, Mike, I saw this house on Zillow. And it just drives me insane because I know this one fact. I know that if my buyers are on Zillow, Zillow doesn't care about me because I'm not paying them. They're trying to sell those buyers' eyes to the highest bidding agent, right? That's not me. So understand Zillow, if your client's eyes are on Zillow, they're away from you. And you got to give them a reason to stay off of Zillow and in your ecosystem. So this is something that I say, listen, I know that Zillow is tempting, and Zillow does not have everything that my search on Final Offer does. However, my search has everything Zillow does. So here's the Final Offer app. Here's how you get it on your phone. Blah blah blah. And let me know what you think. Right?
I love that because then you're taking private collection, so off markets, and everything is through one search. And then on the list side, I know we're about to have to wrap up. On the list side, I do think y'all can say, "Hey, we have a auction style format with more transparency, more offers, and nobody's offering this in town." You can use that for sale listings, i.e., expired or withdrawn, right? For sale by owners. So y'all can use that for engagement with them. So the offer is, do you want an auction style format to drive more offers to your property, which is not a traditional sale, right? And those that probably feel like they lost out on the traditional sale model, this allows them to try a different angle, which means listing with you.
And understand this. This was something that was hardest for me, just me personally, to wrap my head around, and that was that, well, why would anybody choose to sell off market? You've got less eyes. I was thinking, well, you're always going to do better on market, and that's true. Financially, you're typically going to do better on market, right? But here's the thing: the most amount of money is not always what your seller wants, shockingly. And I can tell you, if you need evidence of that, I know that I'm not looking at a lot of faces, but if you've ever DoorDash or Uber Eats any food to yourself, you're proving my exact point. People will pay for convenience. People will pay for privacy. Think of celebrities, think of sports figures, right? Think of people like that. There's people that don't, necessarily want the traditional experience, and we are well equipped to give that to them. So, final thing I want to say, because I know I'm going over and I appreciate it. So here's the reason I really want you to watch. Just two reasons I want you to watch that video. Okay. The first one is, this is a lot to digest. Okay. Man, it took me like 4 times, and I consider myself a tech person, right? It took me 4 times of going through it before it kind of clicked in my head, right? That's the first thing, is I know that's what you need. The second thing is the real thing, the real benefit is Jocelyn Voss, who's the agent that's going to be talking to you at this. She's an agent, and she's giving you her own personal case studies. She's giving you the in between the lines, advice from a successful agent to you, and she's bringing the receipts of how she's used it. And I just think that's the most valuable thing.
Well, Mike, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Thank you so much for coming on. We hit it in the chat, y'all. We put the video there. I also reposted it again on Facebook. So we're doing it a couple different places, but get into Novalink, go to my business. You can scroll down and you'll see Mike's face. Do it now so that you can watch the video over and over again and start creating a different option. So, Mike, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir. Y'all have a good
Thanks, everybody.
Make it a good one. Make it count, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.